We often think we know everything about the Mahabharata. We think the war was decided by the thunderous twang of Arjuna's Gandiva bow, or the tragic charity of Karna, or the terrible vow of Bhishma Pitama. We analyze the strategies, the formations, and the politics of the 18 days that shook the earth. But what if I told you that the most powerful warrior in the entire epic never even stepped foot onto the battlefield? What if I told you that the entire war, which cost millions of lives and destroyed entire bloodlines, could have been finished in less than 60 seconds? This is not an exaggeration. It is not a myth within a myth. It is the story of a warrior who possessed such terrifying power that Lord Krishna himself, the supreme strategist of the universe, had to intervene before the first arrow could fly. This warrior did not have a massive army behind him. He did not have the divine, celestial weapons of Indra or the sun armor of Surya. He had just 3 arrows, 3 simple arrows that held the power to rewrite destiny. His name was Barbarika, and his story is the greatest what-if in the history of mankind. Why did Krishna fear a boy who only wanted to fight for Dharma? Why did the savior of the Pandavas have to trick a Pandava grandson into committing suicide? The answer reveals the most uncomfortable and terrifying logic of the Supreme God. To understand the magnitude of this tragedy, we must first look at the bloodline of this young hero. Barbarika was no ordinary prince. He was born from the union of the mighty Bhima, the strongest of the Pandavas, and the demon princess Hidimba's son, Ghatotkacha. This means he carried the raw, untamed strength of a Rakshasa and the disciplined, martial heritage of the Kuru dynasty. From his childhood, he was not trained in the comfort of palaces, but in the rugged, mystical forests. His mother, Morvi, taught him that a true warrior does not rely on the quantity of weapons, but the quality of his soul. Driven by a desire to be the ultimate protector, Barbarika performed intense penance to please Lord Shiva. For years, he meditated, focusing all his energy on the destroyer. Pleased with his impossible dedication, Lord Shiva appeared and granted him a boon that would make even the gods tremble. He gave him the Baan, 3 infallible arrows. These were not normal arrows, they were weapons of absolute judgment. The first arrow was designed to mark all the targets that the user wished to save. The second arrow was designed to mark all the targets that the user wished to destroy. And the third arrow? The third arrow would simply fly out, eliminate everything marked by the second arrow, protect everything marked by the first, and then return calmly to the quiver. It was the ultimate weapon of mass destruction. With these 3 arrows, Barbarika became invincible. No armor, no boon, and no formation could stop him. When the great war of Mahabharata was announced, the drums of battle echoed across the land. Kings from every corner of Bharatvarsha chose their sides. Barbarika, hearing the call of duty, prepared to leave. He went to his mother to seek her blessings. She asked him a simple question. "My son, the world is divided. Who will you fight for?" Barbarika, with the innocence of a child and the arrogance of supreme power, made a vow that would seal his fate. He said, "Mother, I will not choose a side based on politics or relations. I will go to the battlefield, observe the armies, and I will join the side that is losing. I will fight for the weaker side." It sounded noble. It sounded just. But as he rode his blue horse towards Kurukshetra, he was stopped by a simple Brahmin sitting under a tree. This was no ordinary Brahmin. It was Lord Krishna, who had come to intercept the one force that could ruin his divine plan. Krishna, acting innocent, asked the boy, "Warrior, you head towards the greatest war of all time with just 3 arrows in your quiver? Are you mocking the veterans who carry thousands?" Barbarika smiled, full of confidence. He explained the power of his 3 arrows. He told the Brahmin that he could end the war in a minute if he wanted to. Krishna then asked him, "And who will you fight for?" Barbarika repeated his vow, "I will fight for the weaker side." Krishna's face grew serious. He realized the catastrophe hiding inside this promise. He looked at the boy and explained the mathematical impossibility of his vow. He said, "Child, do you understand what you are saying? If you join the Pandavas because they are fewer in number, your 3 arrows will destroy the Kaurava army in seconds. But the moment the Kauravas start dying, their numbers will drop. Suddenly they will become the weaker side. Bound by your vow, you will have to switch sides and attack the Pandavas. And when the Pandavas start dying, they will become weak again, and you will switch back. You will bounce back and forth like a pendulum of death, killing both armies until you are the only living soul left on Kurukshetra. The weaker side vow was not a blessing. It was a curse of total annihilation. It meant that nobody, not Arjuna, not Duryodhana, not even the Dharma king Yudhishthira, would survive the war. Barbarika was stunned. He had never thought of it that way. But Krishna needed to prove it. He needed to show the boy that his power was too dangerous for the world. Krishna pointed to a giant peepal tree nearby and said, "If your arrows are truly infallible, demonstrate it. Mark every single leaf on this tree with your first arrow." Barbarika accepted the challenge. He closed his eyes, meditated on Lord Shiva, and released the first arrow. A gust of wind blew as the arrow flew, moving with lightning speed, making a tiny hole in every single leaf of the massive tree. But as the arrow finished its work, it did not return to the quiver. Instead, it flew down towards the ground and started hovering menacingly around Krishna's foot. Barbarika was confused. "Why is the arrow hovering over your foot, Brahmin?" Krishna smiled and lifted his foot. Hidden underneath was a single broken leaf that he had stepped on to trick the boy. The arrow was so perfect, so absolute in its mission, that it had located the hidden target and was waiting for the obstruction to move. Krishna looked at Barbarika and said, "This is the truth of your power. It leaves nothing behind. If you fight, the world ends." Barbarika realized who stood before him. This was no Brahmin. He bowed and said, "Lord, I recognize you. You are the Supreme One. My vow cannot be broken, but neither can your will. Tell me, what must I do?" Krishna dropped the disguise and revealed his divine authority. He spoke the hardest truth of the war. Barbarika, for a great war to result in dharma, the battlefield requires a sacrifice. It demands the head of the bravest warrior before the war begins. I have looked at all the kings and soldiers, and there is no one braver than you. I ask for your head as charity. Imagine the shock. Imagine the heartbreak. A young boy who came to be a hero was asked to die before lifting a weapon. But Barbarika was a true devotee. He did not argue. He did not cry. He simply said, "If the Lord himself asks for it, my life is fulfilled. But I have one last wish. I came from far away to see this great war. I want to witness the clash of titans. Grant me this." Krishna smiled with infinite compassion. He accepted the request. Barbarika drew his sword and, with a smile on his face, severed his own head. Krishna took the living head and placed it on top of a high hill overlooking the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He sprinkled it with Amrit, the nectar of immortality, ensuring that Barbarika's eyes would remain open for the next 18 days. And so, the war began. Barbarika saw it all. He saw Bhishma fall on the bed of arrows. He saw the tragic entrapment of Abhimanyu in the Chakravyu. He saw the charity of Karna and his brutal death. He saw the rage of Bhima drinking Dushasana's blood. He watched in silence as the era ended. When the dust settled and the Pandavas stood victorious, a new conflict arose. Pride entered their hearts. Bhima boasted, "I killed the 100 brothers." Arjuna argued, "It was my arrows that destroyed the army." To settle the dispute, Krishna took them to the hill. They looked up at the head of Barbarika, which had witnessed every moment. Krishna asked, "Son, you saw everything. Tell these warriors who truly won the war, who was the greatest fighter?" Barbarika laughed. His voice echoed from the hill, humbling the Pandavas. He said, "I saw no Arjuna, I saw no Bhima, I saw no Duryodhana. I saw only two things on that battlefield. I saw one Sudarshan Chakra spinning and cutting the heads of the unrighteous. And I saw one Draupadi in the form of Mahakali drinking the blood of the sinners. Lord Krishna was the only one fighting. You were all just puppets. You were just instruments in his divine play." The Pandavas bowed their heads in shame. They realized that their ego was baseless. Barbarika teaches us the ultimate lesson of the Bhagavad Gita. You have the right to perform your duty, but no claim over the results. Because of his ultimate sacrifice, Krishna gave him the greatest blessing of all. He said, "My child, the world will forget the winners, but they will remember the one who gave everything. In the Kali Yuga, you will be worshipped by my name. You will be known as Shyam." Today, millions of devotees flock to the temple of Khatu to worship him, not as Barbarika, but as Khatushyam Ji, the god of the losers, the support of the weaker side, the warrior who lost his head but conquered the heart of God.